shoes. No, they make them big enough, but they just look like clown shoes at a certain point. Okay.
Good morning and welcome to our Nirvana Day service. Before we get started with ringing of the conch shell, you are welcome to offer incense at this time.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Dubbits. Naman Dubbits. Naman Dubbits. Naman Dubbits.
Thank you, CMA Yukari Williams, for ringing the concho. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service. Whenever you are here in the Hondo or watching our service live right now on YouTube, we hope your Sunday's going well. Today we are observing Nirvana Day, where Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, entered Nirvana on February 15, 483 BCE in India.
We will continue our service with the presentation of fruit and floral offering by the pre-K through second grade class. Reverend Sterling Davenport, who is our officiant today, will lead us in the sutra chanting of Sambujo. Sambujo can be found on page 21 of the service book. It will be followed with silent meditation in the Yobyaku mode or the intention of this service.
Please join me in Gasho with palms together. Hyobakumon. In the presence of Amida Buddha, which we experience as wisdom and compassion, light and life, we are gathered today in observance of Nihani or Nirvana Day, which marks the crossing over of Shakyamuni Buddha from this world of samsara or suffering into parinirvana or nirvana after death. It is a time to hear once again and be reminded of the guiding principles of living a life free from suffering, and which Shakyamuni Buddha shared before his death. It is said that his final teachings included the following guiding principles. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those who do not. Namo kie Butsu. I go to the Buddha for guidance. Namo kie ho. I go to the Dharma for guidance. Namo kie so. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Hearing the name, desiring to be born in the Pure Land, all can attain birth and attain the rank of the truly settled. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Davenport.
Reverend Sterling will lead us in the sutra chanting Sambu Jo, Sambu Tsuge, which can be found on page 44 of the service book.
Kogen Gigi Ijin Mugoku Nyo Zeien Myo Muyo Tosha Ni ichiga mani shuko enyo kai non pe yu nyaku jumoku nyorai yogen shosei murin shogaku daion koru jipo kaimon shojin sanmai chie itokumuro shushokeu jintai zennen shobuten hokai gujin jin no kugo gaitai mumyo yokunu seson yomu ni no shishi jintokumuro kukun kodai chie jinmyo komyo iso shindo daisen ganga sabitsuzai shoho o kado shoji mi fuge dan Huseijo i kainin shojin nyoze sanmai chie ijo gose tokubun fugyo shigan isai kuku isadayan keshi ubun hyakusen no kuman muro daisho shunyo goja kuyo isai shito shobun funyo gudo kensho fugyaku hinyo goja shobun sekai bufu kage mushu sendo komyo shisho hen shisho kokunyo ze shojin ijin nanro roga sabun kokudo dai ich goshu kimyo dojo chozen kokunyo naion nimuto so gato aimin dodan nisai jiporai sho shinen shojo itoga koku keraku anon kobun shinmyo zega shinsho hongan no hi rikisho shoyoku jipo seson chie muge joro shison chiga shingyo kero shinshi shoku dokuchu Gagyo Shojin Ninju Fuke Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Namanda Bu Ganni Shiku Doku Byodo Sei Sai Dohon Bodai Shin Ojo Anrako. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandavas. Namandavas.
At this time, we will now have incense offerings by temple representatives. Beginning with Dharma School staff, Miss Lisa Ume. From Dharma School students, Isla Koga. From the Sangha teens, Kira. Representing the Junior Young Buddhist Association, Paulina. From the Adults Buddhist Association, Mr. Greg Yonikura. Representing BWA, Miss Fusayoku Yokutobi. From the Taiko group, Chelsea Koga. Representing Komon, our past temple presidents, Bill and Joyce Teague. And representing the Buddhist Temple of San Diego, Mr. Glenn Torrio.
Thank you. At this time, we will have the Nirvana Day Dharma School message given by Reverend Sterling.
Please join me in Gasho, placing our palms together while I read the words of Shinran Shoni. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone. So great to see everyone today. So thank you for coming to temple today on this very special service, Nirvana Day. It's a very special day because this is when we remember the passing of the Buddha and reflect on his life and his teachings. But before we begin, I'm going to start with a question. And my question today, to give you something to think about, is what does the Buddha's death teach us? Now, it may sound like a very serious, morbid question, but when we think about it in a simpler way, it has a lot more meaning and symbolism to it. So, let's start with something fun for Dharma school. When you see a spider, what do you think of? Anyone? Yeah? It's deadly. Okay. Anyone else? You think of a spider? Okay. Spider-Man? Okay, okay. So most of us might say, oh, that's gross, or that's really scary, or get that thing away from me. Some of us might even scream. But when we think about a spider, it has a lot of meaning behind it besides just what's on the surface, besides being warm, fuzzy, and cuddly. Now, when you see Spider-Man, what do you think of? Anyone? Any ideas? Yeah. A hero. Okay, that's good. Anyone else? Yeah. Web-slinging man. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, well, when we might think of a Spider-Man, we think of a hero. We think of someone who's doing good deeds, saving people and helping people. Both of these ideas, both the spider and Spider-Man, have one thing in common, the word spider. But they both mean very different things. So what matters more, the spider itself or what it stands for? Especially when you think of something like Spider-Man. You know, he's a man, he does web slinging, but he represents a lot more than just his appearance. In this way, we can say that the meaning is more important than the person themselves. In this same way, we may think about the Buddha. We sometimes imagine a statue, like the one right here, a picture, or a very special person who lived long, long ago, over 2,500 years ago. We might even think that he's like a superhero, perfect and far removed from us. But the Buddha was no superhero. He was a man. He was a regular human being. He was born a baby. He learned to walk. He made mistakes. He got sick. And one day, he eventually passed, just like all of us will. So what made him so special if he doesn't have any superpowers, if he can't shoot webs or sling from buildings? It wasn't magic. It wasn't a superpower. Instead, his superpower, or what made him so special, was that he learned how to understand life deeply. He learned how to find peace in his heart. He learned how to see the truth clearly, and then he shared that truth with others around him. That is what made him a Buddha. Near the end of his life, though, the Buddha became very sick after eating a meal that had not been properly prepared. And he knew that he was going to die soon. He lay down under a tree and gathered his students around him. The person who gave him the food was a man named Chunda. This is a picture of him right here, or an interpretation. And Chunda had offered him the meal with kindness and respect. But because the food was bad, the Buddha became ill. And the Buddha knew this upon eating his meal. And do you know what he said? Anyone any guesses? Do you think he blamed the person who gave him the meal? No. He said, "Do not blame this person." And why do you think he would say that? Why would he not want to assign blame, even though he was getting sick and he was potentially dying soon? Any guesses? It's okay. It's because the Buddha was not looking only at the result, the outcome of eating this meal. Instead, he focused on the heart, the intention behind it, the gesture. He knew that this person was kind, wanted to help, and gave this gift with love, even if it would cost him his life. That is what mattered to the Buddha. Intention over results. The Buddha was teaching his students at this moment to not judge only by what we see on the outside. Instead, the Buddha said to look deeper. Then the Buddha gave his final teaching, which I shared earlier, which Shinran captures for us. Rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it, even me. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. So what does this mean? What is he trying to get at? Well, it means don't just look at a person. Don't just listen to the sounds of the words. Instead, try and understand the message, the feeling, the sentiment, what is behind the words in the teaching. There's this really famous example of this gesture of pointing at the moon. And if you imagine someone pointing at the moon and say, "Look, the moon," but if you only stare at their finger and not the moon, then that would be silly, because you would not understand what they mean. You would be confused. You would focus too much on the literal words or what they're pointing at. And words, just like a finger pointing at the moon, have a meaning behind them. And the meaning is the moon itself. So what is the Buddha's teachings pointing at? His teachings are pointing at kindness, patience, honesty, and peace. And if we only memorize the words that he says without the meaning behind them, and if we don't live them in our current life, we're missing the message entirely. We are staring at the finger and not at the moon. To give you another example, have you ever walked outside at night when it was very, very dark? There was no lights on. Maybe when you're camping, maybe when the power's out. It's very hard to see. You stumble into things. You might run and trip. You might feel scared and alone. So what do you use to bring light when there's no power? What can you use in your hand? Yeah, a flashlight or a candle. And the flashlight doesn't get rid of the darkness. It just allows you to see in the darkness. The Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, are just like that flashlight. It helps us see where we're going in life. It helps us avoid hurting others and ourselves. And it helps us find our way when life is confusing, when we're lost, and we don't know exactly what to do. You know, today is filled with many busy things. We have cell phones that grab our attention, flashing lights, sirens. Our world is full of things that want to preoccupy our moment. And we often are trapped in our thoughts. We think, I want this. I don't like that. That's not fair. I'm scared. I'm angry. I'm alone. Our minds can feel like a storm when we get trapped in these ideas and these thoughts. But wisdom, the Buddha's wisdom, is like a calm light in that storm. It helps us to slow down. It helps us choose kindness in our actions, to lead every action with compassion. It helps us tell the truth. It helps us forgive. And in Jodo Shinshu, we capture this sentiment and appreciation for it when we say the Nimbutsu. When we say Namo Amida Butsu, we are appreciating with gratitude this thought and this teaching. These words remind us that we are not alone. They remind us that compassion is all around us, even if we are unable to see it in the moment. And they remind us that we are accepted just as we are, every moment, day after day. On Nirvana Day, we often think about this picture of the reclining Buddha, just like this statue here today, lying peacefully still under a tree. He is calm. He is not afraid. He is at peace. This picture teaches us something very important. It says, a life lived with kindness and wisdom leads us to peace, even at our most darkest moment. And in that is for all of us, not just monks, not priests, not just teachers, for each and every one of us, no matter how young we are or how old we may get. So today, when we reflect on Nirvana Day, let us remember, don't focus only on the messenger. Don't focus only on the outside appearance. Look for the meaning behind the words. Look for the heart. Let us try to be kind, like Chunda. Let us try and be patient, like the Buddha. And let us use the Dharma like a flashlight in our lives. And now, please join me in Gasho. We place our palms together and we recite the words of Shinran. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Sterling, for your Dharma message about understanding the intention or the message over the results. Will everyone please rise for the Gatha, Namo Amida Butsu, which can be found on page 122 of the service book. Please remain standing after the Gatha for the reading of the Kokun on page 92.
Please remain standing for the reading of Kokun on page 92 of the service book. Please repeat after me. Kokun. Watakushi tachi wa Mihotoke sama no kodomo de arimasu. We are all Buddhist children. Watakushi tachi wa Mihotoke sama no Oshie wo mamimasu. We will all follow the Buddha's teaching. Watakushi tachi wa minna nakayoku itashimasu. We will all be friendly to everyone. Namo gasho. Namo idapsu. Namo idapsu. Namo idapsu. You may be seated.
At this time, we will have the installation of the 2026 Buddhist Temple of San Diego's Buddhist Women's Association Cabinet. Therefore, I would like to call upon Mrs. Junko Kajita to introduce the cabinet.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to announce our BWA cabinet for 2026-2029. Although they are busy with their families and other activities, I am grateful that these members have stepped up to find the time to support our BWA and the temple. As I call your name, please come forward to Doshoko and remain for the installation. Co-presidents Sumoribe and myself. Second Vice President Margot Spears. Yeah. Recording Secretary Avis Honda. Corresponding Secretary is Ann Yamamoto, but not available today. Our Treasurer, Susan Yonekura, also not available today, but we thank them. Yeah. WellCare, Laureen Ota. Ex officio, past president, Monty Ryan. And our advisor, Alice Aoyama. And First Vice President Sharon Sasaki, who is also not available today. So Sensei, we'll have our installation by Sensei.
You have been chosen by your Sangha to lead the Buddhist Women's Association. for the coming year. To serve in a leadership capacity is both an honor and a responsibility. It will require your patience, effort, and dedication to serving others. It is not an easy task, as there will be many challenges and perhaps even criticism for what you do. However, you must maintain a positive attitude and always keep the primary goals and objectives of your Sangha in mind. Remember that the focus of the temple is to nurture our lives within the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As long as you keep the three treasures close to your heart and mind, you will never stray from the right path in leading others. May you joyously and with gratitude serve your fellow Buddhists during the course of this year. If you will take these responsibilities upon your shoulders, please repeat the following. I will do my best to serve as an officer in the Buddhist Women's Association. I will strive to be considerate to all and to be a leader by example, more than by words. I will do my utmost to listen to the teachings and reflect upon myself. I will serve my Sangha with joy and gratitude. I put my faith in the Buddha. I put my faith in the Dharma. I put my faith in Sangha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Congratulations.
Congratulations on your installation, and we wish you the best this year. Now I would like to call on Mr. Glenn Torrio for words of appreciation.
Congratulations again to the BWA, the core of our temple, as everybody knows. So congratulations once again. Give them a little hand. I know they work so hard. In appreciation for Nirvana Day, I'd like to thank Reverend Sterling Sensei for officiant, being officiant of the service, co-officiant, Reverend Sharon Sasaki, reading the Kansho Yukari, and of course the chair of the service, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Give them a hand. Great job. And then later on after this service, Kaytee will chair the second portion, the adult portion, and then music by Ann Ong, video crew, well, Reverend today, he's the whole crew, and also to you all, the Sangha, for participating in today's service. It's nice to see everybody out here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. At this time, are there any announcements?
Hi. We were out of panko for a while, but we have only one case, which is one case has 12 packages. So if you're interested, it's still a bargain at $3 a package for 12 ounce. So, and if you are this is from the brittle lady who, anyway, our brittle lady says that we will be having some samples later. So not today, but on another day. So, so please buy some panko. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. I am working on the cookbook for the 100th anniversary with Luann and Karen and Kimberly and Laura. And I have a list of all the recipes that have been submitted so far. I have a few that I don't know who contributed them. I'm gonna call them out right now, so just in case. If it's yours after the service, I'm gonna leave this list in the office. If you could just write your name next to it, so we could put that in the cookbook. So we have cockeyed cake, yakisoba, pulled pork, Aunt Mary's apple dessert, Aunt Sally praline pecan crunch, Mom Takiko Kawanamura's manju recipe. So those, I don't have anybody. The rest of the recipes, if you submitted recipes and you want to check, I have them in alphabetical order, the names of people who submitted recipes. So if you want to double check to make sure your recipes are here, it'll be in the office. Okay, and we're still collecting recipes for one more week, and we're going to ask all the Dharma School students to please submit your favorite recipe by next Sunday. You can email it to me. I will also send a message out to your parents. So your favorite recipe, so we can put it in the cookbook. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So I think you're all aware that tomorrow is a holiday. Do you know what holiday it is? Yes. Yeah, good. So I'm not here to announce about President's Day, but I think a lot of you might have the day off from work or school. And we also have a special service that we do here at the temple, and it happens to be tomorrow because it's the 16th of the month. So you also may have seen it in our BTSD temple calendar that Ralph put together. And so you'll see tomorrow it says Gomei Nichi, as well as President's Day. Does anyone know what Gomei Nichi is? So Gomei Nichi is, as I said, held on the 16th of every month here at the temple. And it is a memorial service for our Jodo Shinshu tradition founder, Shinran Shonin, who passed away on the 16th of January, 1263. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., you're all invited, as well as the 16th of every month, but tomorrow's a holiday, so maybe more of you could come. We're going to have a special service. We chant the Shoshinge, and some of the minister's assistants, more than usual, will be there to be here tomorrow, and we'll bring some refreshments, and we'll have coffee together, and we can have a Dharma chat or Q&A with some of the minister team. So you're all invited, and I hope some of you could make it. Thank you.
This concludes the Dharma School portion of the service. Our class would like to thank Reverend Sterling Davenport for officiating today's service and our MA team for helping, our MA team helping making our service possible, from ringing the concho to providing the incense and setting up the hygiene. Thank you, Miss Ann Ong, for providing the music, our tech team for having our service live on YouTube, and to all of you for attending our service today, both here in the Hondo and on live stream.
At this time, the Dharma School is dismissed to offer incense and walk to the activity in the conference room. The Nirvana Day service will continue with the adult portion of the service led by Miss Kaytee Sumida.
And welcome to the adult portion of the service. We will begin with the Vandana and Tisarana, which can be found on page 96, led by Reverend Davenport.
Please join me from the leader line. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Kie Butsu. Namo Kie Ho. Namo Kie So. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
And now Sterling Sensei will give us his Dharma message.
Please join me in Gasho, where we place our palms together as I read the words of Shinran Shoni. From this day on, Rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Well, thank you all for staying. So, I shared a little bit about what the meaning of Nirvana Day is earlier. You know, over 2,500 years ago, Shakyamuni Buddha died. Not a glorious, famous death, but a death from just food poisoning. A very simple, human, and unique way of passing into parinirvana. And this isn't a day of mourning where we look back with sad feelings and thoughts. It's a day about awakening. It's a day about gratitude. And when we ask ourselves, what does the Buddha's death teach us? It teaches us a lot. First of all, it teaches us that the Buddha was human. He was just like any one of us. He wasn't a superhero with superpowers. He was 80 years old. He had walked thousands of miles. He had taught for 45 years. He was tired. He became sick. And he passed. He didn't disappear in the flash of a light, but he laid down beneath the solid trees and died peacefully. This matters, and this teaching is important because it shows us how human he was, how he was just like every one of us. It also reminds us that awakening does not remove us from human life. It allows us to live fully and honestly in our lives. You know, one of the most moving moments of his final days is his response to Chandra's offering. He accepted it wholeheartedly, without doubting, without thinking of the intention, without over-contemplating or worrying. The food might have caused his illness, and from a practical point of view, we might say that it was Chandra's fault for giving him this poorly cooked food. But the Buddha refused to see it that way. The Buddha avoided blame. He did not blame him. And why? Because the Buddha saw beyond the cause and effect in that narrow sense of what would result in his death. He saw the intention, the sentiment, the feeling, the sincerity behind this gesture. In our own lives, how often do we judge everything by results alone? We want the outcome. We look toward the outcome, maybe not even enjoying the journey along the way. You know, a parent tries their best, but parents make mistakes. I plan on making lots of mistakes pretty soon here. A teacher may speak imperfectly. A friend may disappoint us. We may even disappoint ourselves sometimes. But we live in a world that often measures outcomes instead of experiences. It measures the result and not the intention. But the Buddha invites us to look deeper, to look beyond that, to not just weigh them based on the results alone, but to judge them for their intention, their heart, and their sentiment. So we have these things called the 4 reliances. And I've already shared it several times, but I want to go through each of these real quick. You know, the first one is that rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it, which is pretty interesting since you're listening to me teach it right now. But this sentiment is that human teachers are limited. We get tired, we make errors, we even carry blind spots with us, and sometimes we even fail. If our faith depends on perfection, then our faith will collapse anytime something isn't perfect. Shinran himself was deeply aware of this. He saw his own limitations clearly. That is why he's emphasized reliance on other power, on Amida's compassion, not his own will and his own effort. So to rely on the Dharma means to trust the truth that awakens within lived experiences. Enjoy the experience, not just looking forward to the destination. It means we don't have to worship people or personalities. Instead, we listen, we reflect, and we test our teachings in our everyday life. Our second reliance is to rely on the meaning, not on the words. We live in a world saturated with language. Everything is about that little bit of comment, that Twitter feed, that Snapchat, that Instagram. We may even consume books, podcasts, lectures, social media, and opinions, even from our news stations. Even in Buddhism, we can become collectors of quotes. My favorite quote is by the guy who didn't found McDonald's, but he's the one that kind of took it over and made it really big. And my favorite quote is, when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. And I think it's a good sentiment, because if we continually look at ourselves as learning at all times, we're open to change. We're open to new possibilities. But if we don't have that beginner's mind, if we just look at, I know enough, I know everything, then our world view is going to be quite narrow indeed. In Shin Buddhism, we cherish sutras, commentaries, and teachings, even the collected works of Shinran. But we are reminded again and again, they are a means, they are not the end. We may recite Namo Amida Butsu thousands of times. We've done it plenty of times today. But if it does not soften our hearts, increase our humanity, and deepen our gratitude, then we've missed the meaning the entire time. They're not just words, they have a meaning beyond them. Relying on meaning means, how is this teaching changing my life? How is it shaping my relationships? And how is it helping me meet suffering? The third reliance is rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Our minds are continually stimulated every day. I get up every morning and I'm scrolling through my news feed, countless, just goes and goes and goes. We might scroll through our news feeds, we might compare ourselves to others, we may worry, we may plan, we may replay conversations and we said, I should have said that differently. We may even imagine false futures or made up realities of who we want to be or who we should have become. The mind's basic function is to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That is natural, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if we leave it unchecked, it becomes a source of our suffering. We start to justify our anger, rationalize our greed. We tell ourselves stories that protect our ego. And wisdom, in contrast though, arises from honest experiences, experiencing things how they are, not how we want them to be. It arises when we acknowledge, I am limited, I am vulnerable, I am conditioned, and I need support. We're not all unquestionably fools or unquestionable sages, but we're human. In Jodo Shinshu, wisdom is not something we manufacture. It is something that awakens in us through listening and listening again. We listen to it in the Dharma, we listen to it when we hear others, and we listen to it in our own lives as we live them. The fourth reliance is that rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. The Buddha taught countless lessons. The Pali Canon is this really enormous book. Okay? Not every teaching speaks to every person, though. In our tradition, we specifically focus on the 3 Pure Land Sutras and on Shinran's own writings in the collected works. Not because the other ones are wrong or these ones are better, but because they speak more deeply to us in our lived experience, in our day-to-day lives. They speak about people who struggle, people who fail, people who doubt, and people who may feel inadequate. These sutras and these sayings tell us that we are embraced no matter where we are in life, no matter what we are doing. And in gratitude, we say the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Not as a magic phrase that's going to give us any special powers or gifts or rewards. We say it as an expression of gratitude for the compassion that is always there, tirelessly working on us, even if we are unable to perceive it. On Nirvana Day, we often contemplate impermanence. The Buddha died on this day. The Buddha's death teaches us that nothing remains unchanged. Our bodies will age, our relationships will shift, certainties in our life will fade, and life will quickly pass us by. But impermanence is not meant to depress us. It is meant to awaken us, to stir something in us, to ask ourselves, why am I clinging to this? What truly matters in this moment? And how am I living today? The image of the reclining Buddha, as we see here, is powerful precisely because it shows peace in the midst of impermanence. He is not grasping, he is not resisting, he is not regretting, he is at rest. This isn't an escape, it is an insight into something very profound that all of us can learn by. In Jodo Shinshu, we often speak of the Dharma as light. We often speak of Amida as light. We walk through life in partial darkness. We misunderstand others, ourselves, even the world around us. But the Dharma functions as a flashlight. It does not remove the night or dispel any of these feelings. It just allows us to walk safely with them. It helps us see our own greed, our own anger and ignorance. It's not to condemn us, but to awaken humility and compassion within us. And the more we use this flashlight in our lives as we walk it, the more it naturally leads us to gratitude. And that gratitude leads us to the Nembutsu. So in this sense, Nirvana Day is not only about the Buddha's passing, it is about our living. And it's about how we live our lives with the Buddha's teachings. Don't rely too much on personalities, institutions, or opinions. Instead, come back to wisdom and compassion. Shinran's words remind us and remain as relevant today as ever. In an age of misinformation, polarization, spiritual consumerism, rely on meaning, not the messenger. This is radical advice that all of us can do every day. And most importantly, we need to be a lamp unto ourselves, not in isolation, not in arrogance, but in deep interdependence with all beings. As we remember the parinirvana of the Buddha, we are invited not to idealize the past, but to embody the teachings here and now, in our families, in our communities, in our workplaces. We walk this path imperfectly, and that's okay. And that is why we must entrust ourselves to Amida's vow, to rely on other power and not ourselves alone. Because we are embraced, and because we are lifted, even if we don't feel it. Let us close with Gasho, placing our palms together as I recite the words of Shinran Shonin. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu. May these words continue to guide us. May the light of the Dharma illuminate us always. And may we walk this path of humility, gratitude, and compassion. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, Sensei. We will now have the Gatha on Doksan. Please rise, and it will be on page 128. su be shi shi shu chi shi ki no ondo kumo hone o kudakite mo shasu beshi. You may be seated. We will have a final meditation. Shakyamuni Tathagata appeared in this world solely to teach the ocean-like primal vow of Amida. We, an ocean of beings in an evil age of 5 defilements, should entrust ourselves to the Tathagata's words of truth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. And that concludes the service. You're welcome to offer incense. If you have questions, Reverend Sharon and Reverend Sterling will be here. And then join us in hospitality.